Please join me in welcoming Cattolica University to the stage. You have 1 minute left in your setup time.
We're all here today for one reason.
We left our cities and traveled here.
Because we believe that by working together,
our society's problems can be solved.
Through action. I'm Giulia, and with my colleagues Emily, Lorenzo and Shane, we represent Enactus Unicatt. This year, our team has dedicated 1,400 hours to developing two ambitious and impactful projects, PharmaCycle and Terzo Tempo. What the projects share is a common desire to tackle major issues that are often underestimated or forgotten. We are addressing problems that are not often spoken about in the news, but that are causing big inequalities and serious environmental damage.
What happens to our medicines when they expire? Where do they end up? We only recently found out and we were shocked. In Milan alone, 2.5 tons of medicines are dumped in river waters every day. Sewer systems only partially help, and water pollution caused by medicines results in major damage for each.
Nous contribuons ainsi tous à la pollution des rivières et des fleuves. On y détecte dans l'eau des traces de centaines de médicaments, au point où cela met en péril la faune aquatique.
Well, in contrast to most other chemicals, pharmaceuticals are biologically active molecules. So if pharmaceuticals end up in the environment, they have the potential to affect other species who are in no need of treatment.
But how do pharmaceuticals enter our waters? According to a survey we conducted, more than 30% of the 500 respondents are not aware that pharmaceuticals require a proper disposal procedure. This means that people often flush the pharmaceuticals down the toilet, ignoring the serious damages it causes.
this is not the only problem. While exploring the issue of drug disposal, we realized there is an even greater implication in the incorrect management of a drug's life cycle.
In 2017, 1 in 3 people couldn't afford to buy medicines when they needed it.
Non solo ci sono quelle famiglie, quei 3 milioni che devono chiedere aiuto per mangiare, ma ci sono persone che rinunciano a curarsi perché non possono permetterselo.
Sì, questo è il dato più difficile da indagare, ma anche quello che sta emergendo in maniera drammatica dagli stessi dati dell'Istat.
Stanno aumentando in modo preoccupante le famiglie nello stato di povertà.
Hanno difficoltà anche nel poter acquistare farmaci che sono farmaci comunque di utilizzo giornaliero.
Banco Farmaceutico is a nationwide non-profit organization that has been trying to tackle this problem for 20 years. It allows citizens to donate viable and unused medicines to people in need. In the last financial year, they collected more than 100,000 boxes of medicine, worth 1.6 million euros. But this was only enough to cover 38% of the assessed need. We found this is due to a weak communication. In our survey, 79% of the respondents didn't know about the possibility of donating medicine. We also found Banco Farmaceutico's process is labour-intensive, leading to inaccuracy and inefficiency.
Think about what we could do if more people knew about this problem and this possibility. Think about how many people could be helped if a more efficient system were in place. This is why we created PharmaCycle. Our vision is to generate interest among citizens on the life cycle of a drug, and using our entrepreneurial skills to create a system that actively promotes the correct disposal of pharmaceuticals and encourages people to donate valid medicines to improve the livelihoods of those in need.
And here is, in detail, how the process works. When a person enters a pharmacy and buys a medicine, he is asked to join the PharmaCycle service. The phone number and the medicine's expiry date are then registered in our database, and he will be alerted Firstly, 8 months before the expiry date, about the possibility of donation. Secondly, close to the expiry date, about the correct disposal. Initially, we restrict collection to people buying medicine for cardiovascular diseases, which in Milan alone affect 400,000 people. People suffering from this chronic condition often undergo numerous therapeutic changes, which means they may have bought medicines they will never use. Meanwhile, there are many charitable organizations struggling to find medicines for their beneficiaries.
To reach our goals, we signed a partnership with Banco Farmaceutico, who will be in charge of the distribution chain. And thanks to Pharmacycle, the overall process of collection will benefit. We also signed a partnership with Farmacia Centrale Brugherio, where we will launch our pilot project.
This year, we worked on building the foundations of our project. We conducted a feasibility study, worked on database creation, and started raising awareness on the issues. We've already collected 115 boxes of medicine worth more than €1,400, which we donated directly to Opera San Francesco. Here is how we envision Pharmacycle in the future. We plan to expand the number of pharmacies every year, covering the whole of Banco Farmaceutico's network by 2022. This will allow us to collect more than 30,000 boxes of medicine, which will be able to help 22,000 people and save €11,000 in disposal costs. We are confident Pharmacycle will not only provide medicines to the poorest, but it will also allow people to become conscious consumers, actively promoting a socially and environmentally sustainable society.
But what are the costs? How do we make it financially sustainable? These are our 5-year projections. We consider different costs, and we plan on covering them by engaging pharmaceutical companies interested in CSR activities, foundations, and also associations already involved in similar projects.
Pharmacycle is both ambitious and visionary for the impact it strives to generate. We are committed to continuing to work hard to positively impact our society in the next years.
But this is not the only project Enactus Unicatt is committed to. This year, we have encountered another issue that is hurting those that are most vulnerable in our city. Do you happen to have any friends or relatives who are living their golden years? Do you ever worry about them being lonely? This happened to me. 2 years ago, we lost my grandpa quite suddenly, and since then, my grandma started to feel lonely and become very isolated. After discussing this issue with the rest of the group, they suggested researching this topic, and it was then that we discovered how widespread this issue is. 35% of our current population is living their golden years. The city of Milan itself hosts 315,000 senior citizens that are often feeling left out, isolated, and lacking in companionship. This is especially true in big cities, because as a consequence of modern life, everybody is living at a frenetic pace. Neighborhood solidarity and community spirit have been lost, and the elderly are those who suffer from these changes the most.
C'era più solidarietà, adesso abitiamo in un condominio da 32 anni, a parte il vicino di casa e qualche altra famiglia, ma non conosciamo tutte le persone che abitano.
Originally, we thought that loneliness was caused by the loss of a partner or the inability of a relative to provide constant care and company. However, after interviewing a sample of people aged 70 years old and more, we realized that the problem was something else: isolation from their peers. Researchers discovered that loneliness has adverse effects on health behavior, cardiovascular activation, mobility, and sleep. Not to mention, it can double the risk of Alzheimer's. Leveraging on our managerial and entrepreneurial attitude, we designed a solution, Terzo Tempo, a district network aimed at reducing loneliness among the elderly.
The network involves 3 main actors: senior citizens, commercial and non-commercial activities, and Enactus Unicatt, managing the network with the help of Movimento Terza Età, a small parish association for seniors.
We assess our beneficiaries' needs and design our network accordingly. This means that we partnered with businesses located in the neighborhood to reduce mobility barriers. We used flyers and word of mouth instead of the internet. And thanks to the presence of a partner in the territory, we got the elderly to trust us. Local businesses have shown great interest in Terzo Tempo, as they saw a great opportunity to increase their revenues, especially during downtime. For instance, The owner of Bar La Dolce Vita admitted that she had been struggling to pick up business, especially from 10 to 12, and that thanks to Terzo Tempo, she was able to fill her shop.
At the end of May, we organised and ran an extremely successful pilot week with 8 local bit partners. The elderly got together for breakfast, had lunch together, took drama lessons, and so on. 74 seniors participated in our pilot week, and 40 of them have already decided to enrol. Terzo Tempo has helped them to feel part of the community, meet new people, and try something different.
E sicché mi sono chiusa in me stessa. Ora finalmente mi hanno fatto conoscere Terzo Tempo e ho conosciuto delle bravissime persone, mi trovo benissimo e sto cominciando a frequentare gente, a sentirmi meno sola.
For the first year, Terzo Tempo will be entirely funded with the profits of a fundraising event and with the help of our sponsors. As for the future, from January 2020, there will be a participation fee of €10 for the elderly, which will allow us to cover our lead cost, and a €50 fee for the partners to be invested in spreading our network. Every aspect of Terzo Tempo is intended to empower the elderly and allow them to be the key players in fighting loneliness. We will leave District 4 in careful hands and care of Movimento Terza Età, whose members will be training and preparing to take on our efforts, really empowering them to be the creator of the network and sustaining communities with mutual help.
During an interview session, a lovely lady member from Movimento Terza Età held my hand and whispered, and I quote, "Per favore tornate che voglio andare al cinema." This is only an example of what made our focus shift from worrying about surprising you at today's competition to really getting to know the people we are working for, because it is now, and it was then, only for them that we have developed and will continue developing Terzo Tempo.
We've learnt this year that one single's contribution is nothing, isolated and left alone. But together, we can dream bigger and aim for more ambitious objectives. We can generate a relevant impact, one which is worth working for. This is what brought us together as Enactus Unicatt, knowing that Pharmacycle and Terzo Tempo are meaningful and sometimes even essential to those we've managed to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. We will start the Q&A.
Yeah, quick question. Have you considered to link the two projects, for example, by asking the beneficiary of Terzo Tempo to play an active role into Pharmacycle?
Yes, we've considered it. We didn't have time to talk about it in our presentation, but we organised a meeting with the members of Terzo Tempo to talk about our project Pharmacycle, and they were part of the people that donated the 115 boxes of medicines which we donated. Thank you.
So just the question is it's a little tricky, but sorry about that. Did you think about the risk that some of this medicine was not correctly handled during the period before the expiring? So how to manage this risk?
Yes, we considered it, but we are working as a support of Banco Farmaceutico Network, and they are the one that manage all the distribution part. We primarily manage the collection part and the awareness part for the people in general we targeted, and there is a control made by a voluntary pharmacist in the warehouse where the medicines are brought after they are collected. And the responsibility of the integrity of the medicines, it's not on us. It's on Banco Farmaceutico and on the pharmacist that voluntarily does this work. So we primarily focus on the previous part. Thank you for your question.
Yes, quick question. On Terzo Tempo, you basically organize the cost that you have to sustain is based on the people that are, keeping the people and, guiding and leading to the different activity, or something that after that you organize the program, they will do by themselves? Just understand the business model, because it's clear the target, but it's not clear how you manage that the people that go there, because they feel lonely, they rather prefer to stay at home sometimes.
For the trial week that we did in May, each one of us from the team actually went there together with the members of the Movimento Terza Età to see how the project would go, and then later, when we have enough profit after a couple of years, we are planning to hire someone who would be following the activities that we will be planning for the network. Thank you.
A question about Terzo Tempo. What about the scalability of this activity in other cities, in other places?
Thank you. So we are planning to expand the project starting by Municipio 4, which is the area we are currently focusing on. And Municipio 4 is divided in 4 sub-areas. Right now we are in Viale Corsica, which is one of the 4 sub-areas, and we have already contacted ONUS, which is another elderly association that is working in Forlanini, which is another one of the 4 sub-areas. We plan to be finished with covering Municipio 4 by the end of 2021. And what we will do next is moving into Municipio 5, and the costs will be lower because, of course, much of our job is based on spreading the word, and the elderly are already bringing their friends, also because we organize a lottery that incentivizes them to bring friends, so they will get a ticket anytime they brought a new person. And so it's basically a wildfire kind of expansion. Thank you.
My question is, I see that you have suggested in Terzo Tempo a Facebook page, for example, to create community aggregation. I want to understand, how do you promote between the elderly people the use of social media? Because, as you know, not everybody is able. Thank you.
So our Facebook page is already created and running. It's mainly for those of the elderly that can use social networks and for their families, because nowadays, if you can't find something on the internet, it doesn't seem like it is true. So we've made that and a website page as well, but we have used flyers, word of mouth. We have gone to meet them, to have interview sessions. Also, we've gone to church because that's a place they go to, let's say, very often, and we have managed to spread the word this way. So non-technological ways, I would say.
Thank you very much, Cattolica University, for your presentation. Well done.